so everybody can get connected. All of your mics are muted. If you have any questions, please use the chat function. Thanks. Okay, John and Mike, I see you just came on. We do have 5 members of the public also on right now.
Oh, there's Liz. You made it.
I did. It's nice to have someone that knows IT around.
Oh, look at that. I can see Liz.
Liz, you're muted.
I know.
Okay, Dave, I'm going dark unless you need me for something.
Nope.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
I'm still here. I'm just invisible.
Well, yeah, you're still, John, you're still on as the, McNally, you're still on as the alternate host, so.
And you also said there's members of the public on right now, too.
Correct. We have 5 members of the, 6 members of the public on. We have 1 call in and then 5 people who've used the app.
Okay, cool. I'm just taking my audio and video off.
So, Mr. Bendo, this does get recorded as well, right? The audio similar to the previous meetings.
At 7 o'clock, I will turn, once we start the meeting, I will turn on the record function.
I got it. Thanks, Dave.
So you'll see it on the upper right-hand corner of your screen that, and I believe it'll give you a notification that that recording is enabled.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I see we're now up to 9 attendees on the list, right?
So, Dave, when attendees sign in or log in or call in, do they register their, I guess, name, or how do they come in as?
Whatever name they put in when they log in, when they connect.
Do they have to register with an email as well?
WebEx does ask for an email, but we relaxed. There's two ways you can go about the registration on here. You can enforce registration, which means that they would get a return email and then get the link in the return email. But we don't do that. We have it just a simple, you can register and then go right in.
Okay.
And then, yeah, there are, let's see, right now we're still at 9 members of the public and they can see and hear everything right now. So. Okay, Donna and Rich, you're up on the panel. We
Excellent.
have 12 members of the public also on the conference right now.
Am I coming in clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, folks who are just joining, we'll be starting in probably about 5 minutes. All right, we're about 2 minutes out. We have 14 members of the public on the call, and it looks like we're just waiting on Scott to join.
For the benefit of the people that are on the phone right now, it's 7 o'clock. We're going to pause for a couple of minutes just so everyone could go out. Remember, we're all supposed to go clap outside for our medical people who are working in some very trying conditions with shortages of equipment. So I'm showing 7 o'clock on my phone. So why don't we all go give them their 2 minutes of clapping.
Okay.
So, be right back.
Yeah, she said what she would. But I will add. For those people that might have just joined us, we took a 2 minute break to go clap for our medical professionals. If you may remember, everyone is going outside at 7 p.m. to clap and show their appreciation for people in the medical industry that are working to beat this thing. So, I think, are we all back?
Okay, give me one
Looks
second.
like it. Okay.
Give me 1 second here. Go. Okay, recording is starting now. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Council of the City of Long Beach, held Tuesday, April 7th, 2020 at 7 p.m. We'll have a roll call. Councilmember Delury,
Present.
Councilmember Mandel,
Present.
Councilmember Treston,
Here.
Vice President McGinnis,
Present.
President Bendo.
Present.
Let the record indicate the presence of City Manager Donna Gaydon and Acting Corporation Counsel Rich Barrios. We'll now have a salute to the flag.
Councilman, let's see. Oh, you got the flag in the background. Mike, why don't you lead us in the pledge?
Okay, hands over heart. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
Flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
Republic for which it
For which it
stands,
stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, sorry you had to look at our gut there. All right, well, good evening, folks. Obviously, this is a something new, a little out of the ordinary. Obviously, with our social distancing issues, we thought this was a safe course of action to take rather than try to get people spread out together in a room. We get to sort of accomplish the same thing here and keep us even safer. So with that, I'm going to ask our city manager to give her report. Unmute.
Okay, can you hear me
There you
now?
go.
All right. Good evening, everyone. The last few weeks, we have been working diligently on the budget for the 2021 fiscal year. I have been sharing all of my financial information with the department heads and you, of course, the council. Also, I had to share my financial information today with the state. And what I found is that over the last few years, from 2014 to 2015, the budgets have been around $80 million to up to $85 million in revenues, and then the expenditures were 80 to 85 to balance the budget. But what I found was that the city in the general fund have never brought in more than $77 million. And so in doing such, we had to adjust the budgets for the 2021 year to match what the revenues that have been coming in. And so that with the expenditure budget of it was around $86, $87 million, we had a huge shortfall. And so everybody knows that's listening in, and I've explained it to the council and I've explained it to the department heads. When I look at a budget, I look at over the years that we received money, and I look to see how much we received. So to jump from $77 or $79 million to $85 million, I have to understand why. And right now, we don't foresee any way we can jump that high, especially with everything that's going on currently. So that left a deficit of bringing the revenues to where we thought they should be, estimating with the expenditures that the department heads had given us, to probably at the onset was like an $8 million deficit. Now the deficit is $6.5 million. So we have been working, and I've been working hard with the department heads. I have met with the 3 unions to ask what we could do to bring this budget back in line. So we will be working on this the next couple of days. The council, you will receive your budget on the 10th as promised, and then we'll move forward. We also have been working on the current year. So the current year meaning March 31st of 2020. In doing so, I have noticed and working with the comptroller that the city has spent $59 million versus bringing in $50 million, which has left an $8 million shortfall, or $51 million if you round for revenues. And so we've been looking at all the things that we could do for cost-cutting measures for this current year, because we know that sales tax and a lot of other revenue sources will not be coming in at what was predicted. And what was actually predicted and budgeted for was, again, about $85 million. and we're in line to spend $85 million what the budget was for, but we're not in line to receive the $85 million. So in doing so, we enacted a hiring freeze yesterday. The part-timers that were considered non-essential because those centers are closed were laid off for the rest of the fiscal year. That would give us about a $600,000 savings because they were non-essential, and the rec center, nor is the family, youth and family service and senior center open, nor is the daycare. I'm working also with the department heads to find out how we can close this gap before year end, and especially after once the audit is published for the 18-19, we have to figure out a way to start filling in these gaps. Does anyone have any questions? Hello?
Okay.
Not at this time.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I guess I just wanted to give some updated statistics on what's going on with COVID. As of yesterday, there were 150 positive cases in Long Beach. There are 194 on the Barrier Island. Up more at the county level, they tested 36,320 people, and out of that, 16,610 have tested positive. So basically, almost 46% of the people they're testing are coming back positive. If you're watching the news, you know that Long Island, Nassau in particular, is becoming the new hotspot. For COVID, we're going up by about 1,000 cases a day, positives a day in Nassau County. So unfortunately, it's shifting in our direction, which of course makes social distancing all that much more important. So please do that. We've instructed the police to also enforce it, but unfortunately, the police can't be everywhere. You know, we don't have an unlimited size police force. So they're doing as best as they can, but please, you know, keep your distance. You know, just use some common sense because it's getting worse here now. Also, there's some new guidelines out now that they're recommending when people go outside that they do wear a mask now, recognizing masks are hard to come by. They're suggesting wear something like a bandana or just a piece of cloth or something over your mouth. There was one of the cleaners up on Park Avenue by the movie theater was making masks that I believe they were giving for a donation. So that's something for you to consider. For those of you that are going on to the beach, please don't bring your dog on the beach. Only service dogs are allowed on the beach. It's just, I get it, the dogs like the beach, but please, no dogs on the beach. This one, I guess I don't even know why I have to say this one, but people are throwing their disposable gloves and masks on the ground in parking lots at supermarkets and other places. Please don't do that. Somebody has to pick that up. So it's not only is it a potential pollution hazard that it could wind up in our waterways because that's where our sewers go, but it's a health hazard because somebody has to pick that up and you're potentially contaminating someone. So please dispose of your gloves and masks in proper trash receptacles. The city council and the school board, the Long Beach Public School Board, issued a joint letter that we sent to the governor and to the New York State Department of Health, asking them to conduct an immediate site assessment for a temporary medical facility to be set up on the Barrier Island to address the COVID-19 issue. South Nassau Community Hospital is at capacity. So we requested a facility that can be utilized to treat those who are suffering from complications from COVID or to address the surge and overflow capacities that are happening at the current hospitals. So we issued that day before yesterday, and we'll see if anything comes of that. I just want to circle back to the finances for a second. So what we have found now that we're able to get into the books is that the city's been grossly overestimating revenues and us underestimating expenses for the last 6 years. Basically, we've been running annual deficits ranging from, on the low end, $800,000 at the loss, up to $8.3 million. That's in a year, in 1 year. Obviously, that is completely unsustainable. The city cannot function that way. So, you know, we have full access to the books now. We have a city manager that has financial expertise, but as she reported, it's not pretty right now. We're looking at having to make up $6.5 million just to get the break even. But with the previous losses, we're looking at about a $14.6 million deficit in our bank account, in effect. So we're in the red, $14.6 million. And just to give you a little bit of a perspective on that, if we wanted to do a tax increase to clear up that $14.6 million, we're looking at a 40% tax increase. That's how bad this is. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen. We can't put this on people's backs. But it gives you an indication of what a kind of an ugly place we're in right now. And like I said, that 40% that I just mentioned, that's just to get us to break even. That doesn't put anything back into the reserve or the rainy day fund for tough days that might be ahead. So, you know, let's face it, the city's been kicking the can down the road on finances for a while now. And the simple fact is that we've reached the end of the road, and hell, we haven't even reached the end of the road. We've run into a wall, quite frankly. There's just no hiding from this anymore. It has to be dealt with. So we're going to be making some very difficult decisions. What you heard today is the first one with these layoffs. This was not easy to do. We're having major impacts on people's lives. But these are the types of difficult decisions that are going to have to be made to fix our finances. And this is not an overnight fix. This is not going to happen quickly. We're developing a 5-year financial plan to basically make it so we can start climbing out of this hole. We're working with a financial advisor. We're working with the state comptroller's office. This is kind of an all hands on deck thing right now. So what we're doing right here tonight and what we're going to be doing is unlike the past. And I know when I was on the other side of the podium, you know, I was going up asking questions and not getting answers. We're laying it out for everyone to see. We're laying it on the table. Everybody needs to understand where we are, how bad things are, because the only way we're gonna fix this is together. It's not going to be fixed overnight. It's going to be a process over several years. But you need to understand what's really going on. So that's it for the finances, really. I want to talk about a gentleman named Dan Steele. Dan passed away in a nursing home on April 3rd. And I'm guessing a lot of you are asking who Dan Steele was. The simple answer is Dan was married to Clara for 61 years. He had 8 children, 30 grandchildren, and 32 great-grandchildren. And Dan would have been 91 on Monday. The reason you really need to know who Dan was is because of what he did for this country. Dan was U.S. Army veteran, a chief warrant officer. He joined the Army in 1946 and he served for 30 years. He served in the Korean War. He did 3, and I'm going to say that again, 3 combat tours in Vietnam. The man was just, a hero. But he was in a nursing home, and because of COVID-19, his nursing home was on lockdown, so Dan passed away alone. I think we owe it to Dan and the others that were not able to have their loved ones with them in their final moments at their time. So I'm asking you to just join me quickly in a moment of silence for Dan. I also want to mention Karen Mirando, the wife of our Public Works Commissioner, John Mirando, who we lost this week, and everyone else who we've lost in this terrible time. So if we could just have a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. And then just finally, we want to wish everyone a safe and healthy holiday season this week. Obviously, we're probably going to be celebrating our holidays a little differently this year, but please have a safe, healthy, and happy Passover and Easter holidays. So with that, I guess we will get on to the agenda.
Okay, item one has been taken off the calendar. Item 2 is a resolution regarding exemptions, exclusions to the Families First Coronavirus Response Act.
Okay, I'm going to ask our Corporation Counsel, Mr. Berrios, to explain what this is.
Yep. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Making sure. Okay. So this item, as the council knows, and maybe some of the public knows, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act was passed on March 18th, 2020. Its effective date is April 1st through the end of this year. What the law does is it has temporary expansions to the FMLA and Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act provisions. What the act permits, though, is in light of the fact that our first responders and public works personnel provide very critical services to the public, it allows all covered employers to exempt them from these provisions, not from any other provisions like the State Paid Sick Leave Act or anything like that, but just from these provisions. The reason being is that we recognize the critical service critical services that these individuals provide, and we just want to ensure that they can continue to be provided to the public in this time of emergency.
Okay, any questions from the council members? All right, and did we get any questions from the public on this, Dave?
I have nothing on the chat for this item.
Dave, you talking, but
Oh, must be a little bit of a lag there. Yeah.
great. So I guess we can move on to the voting.
Nope. There's item 3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to renew the current contract with the East End Atlantic Beach Fire District.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, is Pat Kemmons on?
He is on as a caller. I will unmute him
Okay.
right now. Hold on one
Right.
second.
Yeah, Mr. Kemmons?
Scott, I'm going to unmute your microphone. Scott, are you there?
Okay, can you hear me? I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the renewal of an ongoing contract that we've had. I've been in the fire department 40 years, and it was well outdated me. We've gone back and researched it, and it's been at least 70 years that we've provided fire and EMS service to the East Atlantic Beach Fire District. So this contract is for, an additional 5 years beginning January 1st of this year. What we did is it's a 3% compounded increase. So 3% each year compounded. And then the total 5-year amount was taken and divided by 5, so each year's payment is equal. This is what we've done in our previous contracts with them, as well as the Atlantic Beach Fire District. So it's an equal amount yearly for those 5 years, but it is compounded 3% increase each of those 5 years. We average about 160 calls a year down there, fire and EMS. About 80% of the calls are EMS. You break out the dollar amount of the yearly contract based upon the calls we go down there. We get approximately $728 per call. Plus the EMS calls, we also bill for those, so that was additional income. Our paid firefighters and paramedics do respond there. It's part of their contractual agreement with the city. But there's no additional cost to us for them responding down there because they're already working and already being paid. And like I said, we do bill for the ambulance when they do go down there. There is obviously some fuel and wear and tear on the vehicles, but nowhere does that come even close to $728 per call. So far this year, for January 1st through today, April 7th, we responded down there 37 times, which once again, about 80% of that was for EMS.
Okay.
Yes.
You finished? Okay. Any questions from the council? Okay. Did we get any questions from the public, Dave?
I have nothing in the chat, but give me 1 second. Folks, if you have a question for this, please post it in the chat, not on the Q&A. I'm having trouble bringing that up. It's not letting me scroll through it. In 1 second. Okay, so I have one question that is up. Can all of you see it? John, can you see it?
No.
I could see it.
I don't think that's appropriate.
Okay, I'm not seeing any chat questions, so sorry.
There was a second comment that just came up.
Okay, well. Okay, well. I'm not even sure what that question means, so, all right, let's move on.
I believe that there was going to be an amendment.
Yes, you want to do that now or just before we get to the resolution to vote?
Let's do that right now.
Okay, so I'd like to propose an amendment to item 3, where in the last sentence of the first resolve, where it says with an option to renew for an additional 5-year period upon terms agreed to by the parties, and I'd like to add with an approval of the city council.
Do I have a second on this motion?
I second.
That was Scott?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. Voting, Councilmember Delury.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Trustin.
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis.
Yes.
President Bendo.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to go on to the voting portion. Item 1 was taken off the calendar. Item 2 is a resolution regarding exemptions, exclusions to the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. Won't you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Delory,
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel,
Yes.
Councilmember Treston,
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis,
Yes.
President Bendo.
Yes.
Okay. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to renew the current contract with the East End Atlantic Beach Fire District. Won't you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second?
Well, who'd you put down as the primary?
Liz.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Voting, Councilmember Delory,
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel,
Yes.
Councilmember Treston,
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis,
Yes.
President Bendo.
Yes.
We'll make a motion to close the meeting. Sorry, I didn't get that.
I will.
Thank you. Second?
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Delory,
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel,
Yes.
Councilmember Treston,
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis,
Yes.
President Bendo.
Yes. All right. I guess for good and welfare, we had asked people to email their questions in advance. So we did get some questions. So we'll get to those. So the first one is, I guess, more of a question or more of a comment than a question, but talking about having increased police presence on the beach, especially at the east and west ends of the boardwalk. Yes, we've talked to the police department. They're responding to calls when people down there when people do call about issues, and they now incorporate the beach entrances into their normal patrols. The problem is, of course, like I said earlier, they just can't be everywhere at once. But they are doing these spots. Next was, can the city increase enforcement of social distancing guidelines in private establishments? Obviously, like I said, the police are enforcing it when they're there and they see it. We've seen quite a bit of improvement in the West End. We know there was some establishments that weren't necessarily up to par early on, but they've been getting better. I know the city manager and I have been going around, walking around the West End some evenings, just keeping an eye on this stuff as well. And the police also, the cars that patrol the West End have been asked to, again, enforce the social distancing. Just one thing you need to remember, it's really even though we can shoo people along, it's still the responsibility of the establishment itself to enforce the guidelines. That's just the way it's structured. The county fire marshal, not the city, but the county fire marshal is actually the entity that's ultimately responsible for enforcing this in the private establishment. But if you do see a gross violation, you can call it into the LVPD. Please go use the non-emergency number. Don't call 911. And sorry, I don't have the non-emergency number in front of me. If you have a city calendar, it's on there. The next one was asking us to urge people to keep dogs off the beach. As I stated earlier, dogs are not supposed to be on the beach, of course, unless it's a service animal. So please, like I said, we get it. The dogs like the beach, but please, be respectful of others. Let's see. Yeah, this one's been coming up quite a bit. Can crossovers be opened to allow passage to the beach from the boardwalk? You know, as you know, the boardwalk is closed. We do have patrols going up and down the boardwalk, trying to keep people, you know, off. So, quite frankly, we continue. We're kind of evaluating this on a day by day basis. At this time, we're really not inclined to open it up. I mean, really, we're all supposed to be staying home as much as possible right now. So we really don't want to make it easier to kind of not social distance. So, the beach is technically open. Well, I guess the beach park is actually closed technically, but the beach is open. Because there's a lot more room to spread out there. The boardwalk was just concentrating people, especially we were getting a lot of people coming in from out of town to enjoy it. So at this particular time, we're not inclined to do that. We understand it's, especially for those in the middle of town, it's not convenient to be able to easily access the beach. They have to go to one of the ends of the boardwalk. We do get it, but hopefully you'll take advantage of other avenues, walking around your block or something if you are going to go out. And please, like I said earlier too, please note the new guidelines do say if you go outside to please wear a mask now. But we're going to continue to monitor this. Like I said, we're monitoring it each day and we're making adjustments as needed. So the next one was, in light of the COVID-19, will beach concerts be taking place this year? Truth be told, it's too early to know at this point. We don't know what the impact is going to be yet on the summer season. Certainly it would be nice, but it's just, at this point, it's too early to know how long this is going to drag out. Another one on, in light of COVID-19, are residents allowed to surf if social distancing? Pretty simple answer, yep. Sure are. So have fun. What do we have here? By laying off 142 part-time workers, what is the budget impact and how much are we saving? So, so for the remainder of this fiscal year, so the city's fiscal year runs July 1st to June 30th. So June 30th will be the end of the current fiscal year. So between now and June 30th, we're estimated that we will save $672,000 for the remainder of the year. But what's important to know is that number that the city manager gave early about the $6.5 million deficit, that takes into account that $672,000 saving. So had the layoffs not taken place, the deficit would have been well over $700,000. I'm sorry, well over $7 million. Annualized, meaning if this was to continue the entire next fiscal year, starting July 1 of 2020 to June 30th of 2021, we'd save almost $1.6 million for the year. But keep in mind that there's a good chance some people will be asked to return as things begin to reopen. But that'll, like I said, will be done on a case-by-case basis based on, the city's needs to provide the services. Another question, are full-time employees currently being paid and are they actually working? So yes and yes on that. The full-time employees are being paid. That includes ones that may be working from home. We have been having discussion with each of the city's unions to see where we can gain additional savings. There have been meetings all week. There was some more today. So we're working very closely with our collective bargaining units here in the city on how to move forward. And then I guess our last question is, can we restrict access to Long Beach to only City of Long Beach residents based on concerns regarding COVID-19? That's a question we've been getting quite a bit. I'll ask our Corp Counsel to jump in if I miss anything on this, but so the answer is legally, maybe. Logistically, it's probably not something we could pull off for a few reasons. One, we would do things like after Sandy, where we had to show our licenses to get back in. Now what we have to do is we have to put employees at the access points, which would basically be, I guess, in the West End, it would be Beach Street and Park Avenue. In the East End, it would be Park Avenue, and then we're probably looking at the Long Beach Bridge. We have to put employees at all those. Just the traffic nightmare alone, but now we're exposing people to each other by having to check IDs and things like that. So it's putting a lot of risk. And the other thing, quite frankly, is it's a manpower issue. After Sandy, we had the National Guard and the state police that were enforcing that. We don't have that now. So it's a manpower issue. It's just not realistic for us to do right now. Rich, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
I think you covered it. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. That was the final question. So,
John?
Yeah.
John, if I could, somebody just contact me, Sergeant Curtis with the Long Beach Police Department. Is this coming through? The Long Beach Police non-emergency number is 516. Is this backwards, or can you see it?
No, we can see it.
516-431-1800.
Okay, so there you go. So if you see big clusters of people, that's the number to call. And let me just point something out real quick too. That obviously we're getting sent a lot of pictures. Unfortunately, sometimes we're getting pictures that are hours old. So then by the time we send someone over there, there's nothing going on. We had it happen today. We were told there was people congregating at Pacific on the beach. They were all clustered together. The police commissioner himself went over there, took a picture, and there was 2 people there. So, like I said, we're doing what we can as we get information. So we all have to do our best and move ahead. So I guess with that was the final question. Thanks everyone for coming. I know this is a little unusual. We don't know if we'll have to do this again for the next meeting, but we're trying to make sure everybody stays in contact. So thank you. I'm not going to tell everyone to get home safe since I'm guessing most of us are there already. But we'll be seeing you again soon. Thanks. And take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy holidays. Stay safe.
Oh, we have to vote. Now we did that. Freedom welfare. Ay. It's a long days. Take care. Be safe. Be well. Be kind.